One of the things I found out, I was kind of messing around a little bit, and I apologize for hitting this late. I've been doing this for years and didn't even think to do this. But when I was showing you how to find annual reports, I said you might be able to just Google it. And I found that instead of Googling for annual reports, that I'm having better luck if I do, and I'll pick Starbucks just for the heck of it, if I search for the 10K, because the 10K is actually what we want. Okay, the 10K is the report that each company actually has to send to the SEC. It's kind of synonymous with the annual report, don't get me wrong, but the annual report's kind of the fancy thing that they send out to shareholders, and within the annual report is the 10K, but the 10K is the thing that they send to the SEC, and that's what we're kind of interested in. So when I search that 10K, I still get a string of things, and then I look for the URL, and oftentimes it will say something just like this. It'll have the company name, and it'll say investors. One of them I looked at said SEC, okay, SEC filings, I think is what it said, I'm sorry. And when I click on that, that brings this up, and a lot of the more bigger companies, let's call them maybe, and probably because they're bigger, they're a little bit more sophisticated. They give you this, and then it's so nice because I can filter this. I just want the annual filings, unless I want to look at like a recent quarter maybe. That's very possible with your company if some things are going on. John Deere, it's probably not going to be in there, the impact of the strike that was just happening. But there might be some things that recently happened in your company that you may want to take a look at. And so you might look at a quarterly filing. Quarterly filing should be 8Ks, I believe. Okay, let's just look at it. Quarterly filing, 10 Qs, I'm sorry. 10 Qs for quarterly filings, that makes sense. The Q for quarterly, K for annual is all, okay? I don't know what the K, why don't call it a 10A, for annual, but the K, so. So you do that, and again, over here then you can look at the years, and like I've said often, you're very likely going to want to go back and look at years. If your company is this good and sophisticated, I just recommend, it won't take up hardly any space, or put it on a jump drive or something, but heck, download the last 4, 5, or 6 of these. I prefer PDF, but you can do it in a doc, PDF, a zip file, HTML. I don't like the HTML, or an XLS, so you can even get it in a format for Excel, which you might want to use some of that data. That's possible. You could do it in the Excel version, but you click on that, and here's your 10K, right? The thing I kind of want to show you on the 10K is most of these are similar. They're not identical, but because it's a form basically that gets sent into the SEC, they're very, very similar. And in this case, if you come down, just a couple pages, you get to the table of contents. And most of these then are kind of interactive, meaning that you can click right on the table of contents and it'll take you to where you want to go. And I get here on the Starbucks one, for example, and I get down to page 26, it looks like, okay? Usually this market for the registrant's common equity, that usually doesn't mean a heck of a lot. But management's discussion and analysis of financial condition and results of operations, wow, okay? And then a little further down, it says financial statements and supplementary data. So from about page 26, it looks like, until about page 81 are the pages that I'm probably going to be most concerned with. And I encourage you, at least for sure, like maybe on the most recent annual report, kind of read through this. It'll set the tone for how the other ones all look. If you go back 4 or 5 years, the information may change a little bit, but how it's set up is going to be the same. And it will allow you to then be able to find things if you need to go back and look at something, from 3 years ago because something went on. It will allow you to be able to do that. So I click on that management's discussion. I got to scroll down. This is pretty much narrative. If you scroll down a little further, they'll start throwing in some data. And this is kind of cool because this tells you how things happen. And remember, I've often said that's kind of what I'm looking for, right? Total net revenues increased 5.5 billion or 24%. That's a nice increase, right, for revenues. Primarily due to higher revenues from company operated stores, which most of the stores for Starbucks are company operated, right? 20% increase in comparable store sales. That's wonderful. 9% increase in but what might have happened to Starbucks that would cause such a big increase? With year ending, it looks like October 3rd, 2021. Anybody got any guesses? Their year end was October 3 of 2021, so just a little over a month ago. Yeah, what was going on the year before? Yeah. So does it surprise you that they had a huge increase from the real COVID year to a little lesser of a COVID year this year? You know, some of the restrictions came off and whatnot. Nah, shouldn't surprise us at all, right? And if I read through this, I'm pretty sure I might have to go back to 2019, or I'm sorry, yeah, the 2020 annual report, because that's probably going to say, you know, our revenues were really impacted by COVID, right? So I might have to go back and find that negative one, okay? But these are really nice to read through because again, they break some of these little simple parts of the financial statements down. Yep, this is the annual report, the annual 10K. And I can come back and help you find yours and whatnot as soon as I'm kind of done here a little bit. Make sure that everybody's cruising along good. So I like these because again, it takes little parts of that financial statement, one of the financial statements, be it income, be it balance sheet, be it cash flow, and it breaks it out, and then management gives you a little discussion about it, okay? And so like in Starbucks case, again, I might want to go back to last year end, which was 2020, September, I think it says September 29th or something, September 27th of 2020, probably depends on when weekends fall, and see what happened that, you know, they had bad revenue probably or less revenue in that year. And I know what happened. I'm sure it's COVID related, but that's the kind of things that I want to look for then that I probably want to report on a little bit. So, and then I want to see if we're back to trend maybe. You know, was there trend up until then? Probably. Starbucks has done extremely well. Have we come back to that trend line in 2021? I might be interested in that. Okay. Questions about how to access that or do those types of things? By now, everybody should have their intro and conclusion. That's the last small part of the assignment. As of yesterday, I had read each and reviewed each and every one and provided feedback. So check and make sure if for some reason you don't see the feedback or you don't see a grade, you know, let me know. Starbucks that Samantha has even. I picked the I picked the right company. At least that's not the company you're reviewing, but it's what you're drinking. So yeah. Okay, no other questions? I will quit, and like I said, I'm gonna come around and check you guys at least how you're coming. So.